Hi my loves, welcome back to my YouTube channel.
So in today's video, we'll be cutting and sewing this beautiful handkerchief sleeve.
This sewing tutorial is very simple and very detailed.
If this is something you're interested in, keep watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and let's get right into the video.
So I have about 2 yards of fabric left from the fabric that I used to make my gown body, and this is what we'll be working with. I want the inside of my handkerchief sleeve to be the same fabric as the outside of my handkerchief sleeve. I'm sure you guys understand, so that when my client raise her hands up, the same fabric that is outside is the same fabric that I'll be showing inside. So the next thing I went ahead to do is to fold my fabric into two so that I can cut the upper part of the sleeve before proceeding to cut the handkerchief flare.
So the full length of the sleeve from the shoulder to the wrist is 23 inches, and I want my handkerchief flare to be about 12 to 13 inches. So I'll be minusing that 12 inches from the 23 inches. It will give me 11 inches. So it is that 11 inches that I'll be using to cut the upper part, the straight part of my sleeve. So I went ahead now to mark the 11 inches that I'll be using for the upper part of my sleeve. Then I'll be using my ruler to just mark a straight line down. The sleeve width I'm working with on this particular outfit is 7.5 inches. So I'll be adding 2 inches to that 7.5 inches. It's going to make it 9.5 inches. Then I'm just going to mark where my 9.5 inches is going to get to. Now the next thing I did was to connect the 9.5 inches to the top of my sleeve with my ruler. So on the straight line that I ruled with my ruler, I'm going down by 5 inches. That is just what I like working with when I'm cutting my sleeve. I love to go down by 5 inches to get the depth of my armhole. So now I'm just using my free hand to draw that S kind of shape on the sleeve so that it's going to form, you know, the way the sleeve always form that S. Then on the down part of my sleeve, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. Then I'm going to use my ruler to just connect a slant line from the down part of the sleeve to the end part of the sleeve armhole. So this is all for the upper part of the sleeve. Then I'm going to take my scissors now and cut it out on all the lines that I've ruled. I'm sure the lines are visible this time and you can see what I am cutting. So now we are done cutting the first sleeve, and the second sleeve, it is very easy. Just place it on your fabric and then just cut it out the same way that you cut your first sleeve. So now we are done cutting the 2 sleeves, and this is what I have. These are my 2 sleeves sitting just pretty here. So I'm using my chalk to mark the wrong side so that when I'm fixing it, I don't make a mistake of sewing the wrong side to the right side. So I'm going to set that aside, then I'll start working on my handkerchief flare. So this part might be tricky, but then if you have cut the normal round flare before, you'll be familiar with this. Then the first thing I did now is to fold my fabric into 2. I'm sure you guys can see it, right side facing each other. I folded my fabric into 2. Then I'll go ahead again. I'll make sure that everything is aligned. One side is no longer than each other. So then I'll go ahead now and fold it into 4. I'm sure you guys can see what I'm doing. I'll fold it into 4. The first thing is to fold it into 2. Then I'll go ahead and fold it into 4. Just the way I did it in this video. Remember that our sleeve length, together with the upper bodies and everything, the total length of the sleeve is 23 inches. Then I already used 11 inches for the upper part. Then we have 12 inches left. But for the sake of allowance, I'm going to add 1 inch extra to the 12 inches that we have left. So now we'll be making our handkerchief flare 13 inches. Please make sure that all areas, like all sides of your folded fabric, you know, we folded it into 4. Make sure that all sides are 13 inches. If you are working with 10 inches or whatever inches you are working with, just make sure that you have that inches all around. So for the upper part of this handkerchief flare that will be joining to the upper part of my sleeve, I'll be coming down by 1.5 inch. Then I'll be using my chalk to just do like a curved line. I'll be measuring it all around, and I'll be using my chalk to just do a curved line so that that will be the part that will be opened, that will be joining to the upper part of the sleeve. This handkerchief flare is even more simple than the regular round flare. It does not have any drama to it. Then I'm done now and I'll be cutting it out. That's all. That's basically all for the cutting. The next thing we are going to do now is to sew it. So when I was done, and this is what I have when I folded my flare into two. You can see it's looking like a rectangle, but if I fold it into four, it is looking like a square. Please, if your sleeve is not looking like this, then you are wrong. The next thing I'll be doing now is to cut the other side of the second sleeve, the second handkerchief flare. So now all I did was to just fold my fabric the exact way that I folded the first fabric and just trace it out. There is no drama to it. Just place it the exact way that you cut the first sleeve, and just place it on your folded fabric and just cut it out. And this is what it's looking like. The next thing I'll be doing now is that I'll be cutting out my lining piece. I want the exact fabric that I'm using for the right side to be the same fabric that I'll be using for my wrong side. I already said that at the beginning of the video. So I just folded it into two the same way I folded the fabric at first. Then I'll be tracing it out. Just cut it the exact way that you've been cutting your fabric. Just fold it and place it on top and just cut it out. This one is very, very easy peasy. I'm sure you all can see how easy it is. Then the next thing I'll be doing now is that the same method I used to cut the first sleeve is the same method I'll be using to cut the second sleeve. I'll just go ahead and fold my fabric just the same way that I folded this first one, and then placing it and then cutting it out so that I can have my lining piece for the second sleeve also. So now that we are done with cutting, the next thing we'll be doing now is that we'll be sewing. So this is my sleeve and this is the lining piece. You can see that it is the same fabric. You can decide to use the normal lining for yours, but I prefer that the sleeve that is outside, the fabric that is outside, should be this fabric that will be on the wrong side too. So what I'll be doing now is that I'll be placing it on each other, right side facing each other. Then I'll go over to my sewing machine. I'll arrange it very well so that one side is not bigger than each other, the other side is not looking funny. I'll just make sure that everything is arranged well. Then I'll be pinning it with my pin all around so that when I'm sewing on my sewing machine, it is not shifting. Then I'm just sewing, I'm pinning it now. Then the next thing I'll be doing is take it over to my sewing machine and sew it all around. So now that I'm done sewing the two sleeves, this is what I have. This is exactly what it is looking like. Then I went ahead to turn it to the right side. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is that I'm going to give it a very, very good press. Please, this part is very, very essential. Make sure you iron out your flare sleeve very well. Don't just go ahead and just start sewing. Make sure you iron that handkerchief flare very well. So when I was done ironing the two flare, this is what it is looking like. You can see how well pressed it is. The next thing I'll be doing now is that I'll be bringing back my upper basic sleeve. Then I'll be using my pin to pin it all the way around to this handkerchief flare. I'm sure you understand that. Let me go over that again. I'll be bringing back my upper sleeve. Then I'll be attaching it to this flare sleeve, this handkerchief sleeve, with my pin. And one thing is that using pin does not mean that you are not a professional. It just means that you want your work to come out very, very neat. So that's exactly what we are doing. I'm sure you can see that I notched the middle part of my sleeve because I don't want to have, okay, this side is longer than this and the other side is longer than this. Then after pinning it now, we went over to the sewing machine to join the upper part to the down part, and this is what it's looking like. I'm sure you can see how beautiful it is looking like even without me joining it to the down bodies yet. So I did the same for the two sleeve, and this is what we have. I'm sure you can see the effect of the handkerchief flare already. You can see how beautiful it is. The next thing I'll be doing now before joining the full sleeve to the bodies of the gown is that I'll be ironing it. Please make sure that you always iron your piece. It is very, very important. Always iron your piece because it is going to it is going to help you achieve that neat look that you need. You must always iron your piece. The next thing now is to join this full sleeve to my gown bodies. Then I'll go over to the sewing machine and iron it out. And after I was done ironing it out, this is what I have. You can see how beautiful it is looking. It is looking very neat and very beautiful. My favorite thing about this handkerchief sleeve is that the inside and the outside of my sleeve are the same. It is so beautiful. If you found this tutorial helpful, please do to subscribe to my channel, like and share this video. That will be all for now. See you all in my next video. Bye.